Welcome to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy is a veteran U.S. Navy SEAL, a former protective officer for the CIA Global Response Staff, founder and CEO of the Able Shepherd Program, a husband and father of 4, and a personal friend of mine. Now here's Jimmy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Protector Culture Podcast with Jimmy Graham. I'm your host, Jimmy Graham. With me tonight, who'd have guessed it? BK, Able Shepherd 051. How you doing, brother?
Doing awesome.
Good. Give a shout out once again to Neil Pinkham, the Sage. This episode brought to you once again by Able Nation. That's able-nation.org. Man, we're doing some more stuff with Neil. We're shucking and jiving right now. We got scholarships going on. We've got a fundraiser at a school, like a security fundraiser that we're donating to. Man, what else? I got some lighters. I'll talk about those as kind of a reminder with some Bible verses on them for some men's groups, some marriage groups, and all that kind of stuff. We're cranking, man. We're moving the needle. I'm totally digging it. So if you need help with securing, making safe children in your church, school, civic group, it doesn't have to be children. It can be really anybody. We have started a 501c3 for that out of need, out of necessity. We saw people that couldn't afford it. They had, the responsibility to protect people, but they didn't have the funds. So we stepped in to make that not an issue where we can. Scholarships, material goods, primarily focused on safety. That's able-nation.org. It's a simple application. If you need some assistance there, hit up the Sage. We call him the Sage. You might want to, at least initially address him as Neil Pinkham so you can get to the right spot.
Mr. Pinkham.
But he can help you out. So thank you, brother. Love you, Sage. Thank you, Able Nation. So this episode, we talked about this. You want to stick with War on Decency? We're going to call this one.
I like it.
War on Decency. This is a big one for me. If you know me at all in this program, then you'll understand this. But this comes up all the time now, and it's you know where we stand on this.
Yes, I do.
And it's hitting close to home on a lot of levels, even with what's going on in our nation. And I just want to see where it takes us, brother. So let's dive in and see what happens. So one of the things to kick it off, I heard recently Jordan Peterson talking about. He said a phrase. And I don't know if he was quoting somebody or if it was him. The world would be a lot better if you were a lot better. And I haven't been able to shake that. Yeah. And then I hear people talking about, Ukraine and Russia and this administration, and somebody should do something, and politicians and all this other stuff. And we've said it this way. I think accountability dictates that that if you're going to work towards a solution, it must start right here.
Yep.
Right. So accountability dictates that it must start with Jimmy Graham and then go outboard. And I've said it a little less sympathetically that if you're a train wreck, you shouldn't be leading anything. You should be working on you. Yep. Right. I mean, this is me talking to me. So you really need to work on you, believe in something, stand for something. There's a country song. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. I make my kids listen to that. They had Aaron Tippin. He's got that real twangy voice. There's a lot of knowledge in that. Meaning that if somebody's saying lies or saying something that's not true, how would you know? Like if you have no basis, you have no foundation, so anyone will blow you kind of thing. And that's what we're living right now. Our decisions have consequences and our nation's living right now. And now they're life and death. Yep. And how couldn't they be? Are you tracking much on what's going on, Russia, Ukraine? A little bit, a lot, like all day, every day?
Not all day.
Every once in a while, headlines?
Yeah, I mean, my normal day would start with a cup of coffee and read the internet, maybe lunch and maybe dinner. Yeah. So 3 times a day, get a couple hours in between to let the news stories catch up. But it just seems atrocities is all I can think of. When you start bombing hospitals with pregnant women and babies, you got to screw loose.
It is an absolute mess. I honestly don't know what to think. Like, I mean it this way. Obviously, it's horrible what Russia's doing, and Russia's a bully. But it's not a big surprise. Russia, if you've ever had any workings with Russia, and I'm not saying this about the Russian people in general, but it's not good. It's never been good. It's never been like, whenever I look at them, and there's a lot of amazing Russian people. But as a whole, I see Russia as kind of a godless, they're just a violent, it's a poor country. Obviously, I'm speaking kind of holistically, but when I've worked with them overseas at all, it's kind of watch your wallet. It's kind of, they don't have, so they take. Yeah. And there it is, right? So that's the deal. Historically, from Patton's book and all that, he thought we should just keep going. We're already here. We need to keep going because we're going to regret this. Don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, But now we're hearing this other talk about, like, I've heard some pastors saying recently, like, careful if you're giving all this money to Ukraine because there's this other side of the story. Typically, when you have something and you're not sure what the truth is, you look at the facts, both sides, and you make a decision. And if you can't, then you go to character. But there isn't any. You know what I mean? You're like, I really don't know, because these both make sense. They're both plausible. I could believe either one of these, and I simply don't know. There's a guy in here recently that's heading off to fight for the Foreign Legion for Ukraine.
Wow.
Okay, whatever. It's a friend of a friend kind of thing, family actually of a friend. I'm not sure what to think about that. Now, I've talked to some people, and they're like, yeah, good for him, that kind of thing. And other people are like, ooh, I don't know, there's enough in. And there's a lot to fight for here. You know what I mean? This is just getting warmed up. You might be staying in the wrong place when this thing clacks off,
Well,
So
I'm concerned in general. There seems to be a divide currently. Mm-hmm. And I think Putin has seen that. There's not as much strength, perhaps. And he's taking advantage of it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a crack in the door. He wants to see how much he can get through.
Yeah.
And to your point, now you get overseas and you're, running through the woods, thinking you're helping Ukraine, and all of a sudden something breaks out near shore.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's no easy way to get back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big deal. And I think a lot of people, it's easy to say we're going to elect somebody to fix this. And I keep saying it this way, like, by design, this entire system, this whole we the people thing was designed for exactly that. It's not somebody coming to my rescue. It's we the people must wake up. Until it stings bad enough for us to actually leave comfort and luxury to change Jimmy Graham and have that work outboard as a ripple effect, it's not going to happen, period, right? So there was this fiduciary responsibility. We entrusted people with our well-being and our best interests, and they just let us down because of human nature, right? It became a job. They became politicians, not statesmen, and then it backfired in our face, and we didn't know it. And then there's repercussions, because now it's like, man, everybody's like, well, it'll all change in a couple years. Man, we got to make it a couple years. The trajectory we're on is a bad one. It's bad. Like, this is horrible. And obviously what's going on with gas, all this other stuff. But to simplify it, we just showed the bully on the block that we don't fight.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous place to be, right? I think that people saw videos of Russian soldiers running into a sandwich shop and looting, meaning eating sandwiches and taking food. And they're appalled by it. It's like, that's called war. Those aren't your sandwiches anymore. Those are my sandwiches. You know what I mean? It's like that. I'm hungry. We just took this over, and I'm going to eat whatever I want. That's war. That's the deal. But from here on the luxury of our sofa watching Netflix, we're like, how dare they? You know what I mean?
Well, I tell you what, you opened this with the war on decency, and sure, we're talking about Ukraine and Russia. Well, haven't I been watching this in New York and Chicago?
Yeah, smash and grab, yeah.
I'd like a Louis Vuitton purse. Well, break the cabinet.
Why wouldn't you? Like, get in there. You're right. So, like, if you don't believe anything, if there's no ethical foundation, if there's no, right and wrong, then, like we say it this way when we're talking tactics, and we're saying, get your hands up, get on the ground. Like, you can't break the rules if there are no rules. Yeah. You got to lay out the rules, and now you could break the rules, but there are no rules, right? It's all my stuff. It's all relative. I can do whatever I want, right? So I think that's where do you start with that? Because people are like, I want an action step. I want to do something, but I don't want to work. I mean, what I'm seeing is I want to do something about it, or somebody should. Somebody should do something about it, as long as it's not inconvenient.
Is this where I do the angry uncle?
Yeah, you shake your fist at the TV and then count that as something. That's nothing. It didn't register on anybody's count, so you basically feel better because you did something. You did nothing, right? So I would say the starting place is you. We already talked about that. If you're a train wreck, you shouldn't be leading anything. You should be working on you. Yep. You should be like, I'm going to go start a thing. Don't start anything. Start working on you. Figure out what the truth is. I get my foundation from the Bible. I say, when you don't know what to believe, there's one thing. Start back there. Yep. And then spend some time there. Pray about what is that front. We call them fronts with Stand the Gap Initiative. What are the fronts that you're going to, what are your spiritual gifts, what you're calling, right? And there's that thing that's burning inside you, that thing that burns in my chest, and everybody knows me knows this, or they should, or it's my fault. Pro-Jesus, not pro-God, pro-Jesus, pro-life, pro-Second Amendment. Not guns, not God holistically, could be anything, Jesus. Pro-life, pro-Second Amendment. And I say guns are cool, but they don't make you cool, right? So it's not a gun thing. It's so much bigger than that. It's like, do I have the right to protect my family and my personal property, right? We lose that, we lose it all. That life, liberty, property kind of thing. That must stand And without it, it breaks down. So let's go a step even further in that. Standing for something, standing for nothing. What can you do personally to work on you? One of my big ones, and I don't know why this landed so hard, because anybody who knew me from my previous life would be like, what are you talking about, you hypocrite, right? Because language, it's just your language, the way that you present yourself with vulgarity. I'll frame it up with this. There was a guy named Dr. Fowl. I don't know if he's still with us anymore. He was up there in years, seasoned, as they would say, back when I was a younger man in the SEAL teams, right? Yeah, right now, yeah. And he was kind of quirky. He was like, he earned my respect immediately, but he was the guy with the fancy handkerchief and the cuff links, and just everything was just prim and proper, like almost fancy, like trim nails with the clear coat, gloss, the shoes that were perfect. And he came in and he taught to the SEAL teams leadership and public speaking. Because we weren't polished there. There's a bunch of, salty, barrel-chested frogman, rah, 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 effing, mother effing. It was just bad, right? Yeah. And then the Marines have kind of a finishing school in their upper echelons, and they would present better. So they bring in these professionals to come and teach, and it wasn't a long class, maybe a week long. And I just remember so much from that class. One thing that stands out right now that's pertinent to this conversation is somebody in class dropped an F-bomb, and he goes, "Pardon my French." And without skipping a beat, he goes, "It's not French, it's bad English." To like this SEAL guy, and everybody, it was like all the oxygen got sucked out of the room for a second. Was like, "What'd you say?" And I was like, "Touche." Like, well played, right? and many of his phrases and just kind of common core, principles, I still retain. Like I don't know, somewhere they're written down, and they were just fantastic. Yeah. Like another one that comes to mind was like, as a leader, when they say, "Whose fault is it?" He would say, "Whose fault is it?" He would train you to say, "Mine." Yep. It's my fault. Like, what do you mean it's mine? You didn't do it. And he goes, "Right, but you're the buck stops with you." Yep. And you employ everybody here. Anything they do is your fault, because otherwise they wouldn't work here, right? So ultimately it's your fault. And it changes everything. I didn't agree with that. I argue with that in my mind for a long time, and I get it now. Yep. Like, roger that.
Share the victories with the team, and the blame goes to
them. There's so much goodness in that. But so this is, I don't know why this landed so hard in me, because like I said, other people would be like, "What a hypocrite, I knew you back in the day." That'd be like me saying, "BK, we used to hang out when we were like 2 and 3 years old, right? We walked around, our shoes were all untied. Look at you, Mr. Tied Shoes." Like, man,
shoelaces. I got rid
you're
of
such
that
a hypocrite. Such a hypocrite, whatever. Remember how we used to roll? You're like, I actually learned a better way. I don't like falling down anymore, so now I tie my shoes, right? It's not hypocrisy, it's growth. I didn't know any better. I'll do with the finger quotes. For if you're listening, I'm doing the quotes. The man who shot Osama bin Laden. So everybody knows his name. He's a buddy of mine, meaning that we went to Buds together. Funny dude, good dude. Have you ever seen the kind of parody funny thing, The Man Who Shot Osama bin Laden? Look it up. It's worth it.
YouTube or something?
If they're making fun of like that, hey, it's a secret, keep it under wraps. And it's the dude from Hangover that's the cop. Ride the lightning. Yeah. I forget his name. He's hilarious. Mm-hmm. When he was making fun of that, it's exactly the guy. That guy. He's a comedian. He's hilarious. He's silly, but it's exactly him, but they didn't know it. They were making a joke, right? Gosh. Anyways, we used to own the room at everybody else's expense, and it was like you'd go hide in a corner, because I could reduce a guy to dust with my words. And I'm not proud of that now, but back then it was like, people say like, "Oh yeah, the F word as an adjective, a noun, a verb." Like, I get it, because I used to be really good at it, but it's somebody's expense, right?
Yeah, I relate to it in hockey, football locker rooms, even the baseball dugout. You're young, full of testosterone, you're out there to win, you're competitive. I get it. Emotions run high. But you have a saying that I'm forgetting right now, but you kind of grow up and you get rid of little kid toys.
That's right.
But what was that phrase?
It's a verse. It says, when I was a child, I acted like a child. I talked like a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. Yeah. That's exactly it. Yep. It's like, I grew up, right? And now I see, and it is like, there's a guy in here the other day, and he was, and I looked at Parker, because we usually will let you have one or two, and then it gets to a point, I'm like, can you watch your language, please? And people go, "Oh," and they turn into a 6-year-old, right? I remember working for the railroad, and we were a construction crew, and it was heavy equipment, and we had moved all this earth, and we were down in the ground. You have to have the cribbing and the bunker stuff, so the earth didn't, whatever, collapse and kill you. there's a big dude and he's the boss and I'm up top and these kids were walking by and they're way down in this hole and they're like, effing mother. And I go, watch your language. There's kids up here. I was like, hey, kind of like, watch your language. There's children up here. And he's like, did I? And he turns like he's 8 years old. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say? I'm like, yeah, every other word. And the dad looked back and goes, thank you. Like, come on, man. I'm trying to do something here, but that kind of thing. And I don't know why it grabs me so much, but now I just see a whole different thing. I see, and I know people say, it makes you look unintelligent and this and that. And I do agree with that. I think that the locker room talk, and I don't care if it offends people or not, because I'll tell you to your face, is that, well, that's locker room talk. There's a place for that. Which place? Yeah. And then somebody said to me recently, well, I wouldn't talk to you the same way I talk to my mother. I go, why not? If you got to look left and right over your shoulder before you speak, it's borderline cowardly. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now, if you're that guy that's like, effing mother, and you do it in church and you do it at your business and all that, at least it's honest. I don't agree with you and you're kind of a train wreck, but at least it's honest. So to say that you talk one way, like that's your yes BS and your no be no, that's another one of the verses that we kind of put on there that I took notes on was talking about that. I'm not sure who I'm dealing with. Now you're double-minded as the Bible would talk about. I don't know who I'm talking to. Is it this guy or this guy? Yep. And when I leave, what are you saying? That kind of thing. And it creates this deal. And I was talking to a buddy of mine, a couple buddies, and he said, I really thought about after we talked about that. And he said, I think it excludes you from many things. And I go, exactly. Like, without saying this, and if we're being honest, this is what happens. This happens all the time with me. We're having a conversation, and while we're talking, what I'm thinking is, this guy will never be in my house. Yeah. He'll never be presented to my children as an option. Because I present options to my kids of, this is the kind of guy you may want to be like. This is the kind of woman you may want to be like. And if I'm constantly bringing around a bad option, and you choose that option, it's my fault for presenting that as and I get it. Jesus ate with the sinners, but he didn't sin. You know what I mean? So that kind of thing. I'm writing a book right now, and I just kind of spent some time thinking about this. I'm either going to conform and do not conform any longer to the ways of this world, right? That's another verse. I'm going to conform and start cussing like you. Or I'm going to separate myself, and sometimes that's unfortunate because there's people that I absolutely love, would kill or die for them, is what we'd say in the team. I'd kill or die for that guy, but I don't want him in my house at Thanksgiving, right? So I'm going to conform, I'm going to separate, or I'm going to endure. Sometimes you do endure wounds for other people, right? But I'm not going to ask my kids to, right? So some people are like, wow, you had this guy over? Never had me over. Yeah, that's right, because you can't handle your mouth. You can't handle your language. Well, I'd tighten it up around your kids. It's like, okay, maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't, right? It's like now all of a sudden I don't want to phony around my kids either, right? Yeah. And it's not like people are doing it to be phony. It's just them. And I've addressed people, and I do it all the time. You've seen me. I'm like, hey, what you like all the time. Yeah. And there are many mothers. And when I say mothers, I'm saying this is a 50, 60-year-old man. My mother loves you. I'm like, I've never met your mother. Like, I know, but she loves you because I'm tightening up my language, right? Because at 50 years old, they realize, hey, man, that's a little reckless. How much did I miss out on?
4 or 5 years, I could probably count on 1 or 2 hands where I've been standing right there and you said to the person, watch your language. And it's not threatening. It doesn't include a please typically. It's just a matter of fact, watch your language. And most people kind of, like you said, they stand up straight. They don't know what to do. And I can't think of an example where any one of those people have come back and thrown an F-bomb or anything.
Yeah.
They realize deep down internally, like, this is the right way. This is how I should present myself. This is how I should carry myself.
That second. Yeah. It's like the second it's said, they turn like a little kid. Mm-hmm. And I've had one guy said, and he's a great guy, and I love him, and he goes, well, we got a preacher in here? I go, yeah, me. And he was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, well, not like formally, but I consider myself in full-time ministry, and I watch, every word because it's a thing. And then it's gone, right? Typically. Now, if you stub your toe or smack your thumb with a hammer or you throw around an important test, I get it. You're not like, you're out of here forever. I'm not trying to condemn you to hell, right? No. I'm just saying we can do better. Yeah. And I have had more people thank me than ever bring it up. Like, people aren't like, oh yeah, you got to do whatever. And I tell people this, it's like, you can do whatever you want on that street. I'm not your dad. You're an American free on the earth. You can do whatever you want. You just can't do it in my house. Right? And this isn't even my house. I consider this God's house. Like, this is God's business. It's Jesus's business. And I get to facilitate this. And I tell my staff this all the time. The one thing that we have been very blessed, and if we want to flush that right now, the only way God will stop blessing what we're doing is if we compromise our integrity.
Yeah, can't
right?
do that.
And if that happens, this all could go away in a heartbeat. And it should, right? And then you invite this thing like Kate the Great just sent me. When I mentioned that what we might talk about, she sends me Matthew 12:36. I'll throw in 37 as well. But I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word they have spoken. For by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. So there's just so many. You saw me just getting ready for this, and there was hundreds. I'm like, oh no, we can't talk about that. It's going to dilute it or whatever. I really want to dive in, get to the heart of this. But I truly believe that. The let your yes be yes and your no be no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one. It means that who am I talking to here? Like words. And I said this recently, words like honor, integrity, accountability, they still mean something to me. They still mean something to most of us, not to the world, because to most people they don't. You can say whatever you want to get elected. You can say whatever you want. There's just no accountability. But to some of us, those words are still sacred. They're still a big deal, right? So I think that is a big way, and it's not short game, because everybody's playing short game right now, meaning not long term. It's that instant gratification to get what I want. I say what I want, and it means nothing. Yep. And now I don't trust you though. So the long term of that is being steadfast, letting your yes be yes and your no be no. And over the course of a lifetime, every single day, you're auditioning for his trust. Yeah. Right? And you got it or you don't. Yeah. And what's that one currency? That currency like Leif, what's up, brother? We use that in the podcast, the currency of trust. That has not left the front of my mind. The currency of trust. What is more important in times like this or worse than that? Yeah. You're like, I'm scared. This is crazy. I don't know what to do. And now Jimmy's truck just pulled up. You're going to think one thing or another. He's here to steal my stuff. He's going to play nice. Then he's going to steal my stuff. He's going to kill me. He's going to do whatever. It's like, I can trust that guy. Yep. We're better off. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to figure it out together, right? BK, it's like one thing I know, when he pulls into my job, I can trust him. Mm-hmm. All right, let's do this, right? And like, I'm not sure where you stand. You can't buy that in an hour, a day, a week, a month. It's years. It's lifelong, and you can mess that up and possibly never get it back, right? Whew.
I gotta let that one sit.
I know, man. This is all this stuff. We just kind of flowed right into yes be yes. I mean, that's Matthew 5:37, 1 Corinthians 13:11. We talked about when I was a child, I talked like you busted that one out, brother. What's up? When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. And I see people that, man, I'm gonna go out there. We doing this? I guess we're doing this.
Might as well go all the way.
Fake tough, like this fake tough thing. I know you stand for nothing. You cuss a bunch. You talk about all the stuff you would do, and you never done anything like to move the needle, right? You watch all the tough shows. You drive a tough truck. You got a bunch of guns and stuff, but I don't see you do anything. And to some extent, and I know that words are very powerful and they can be used for good as well, but you can't just talk. Yeah. You can't just theorize about things and philosophize about all these things and then not take a step. That bothers me, right? At some point, you've got to live it. Yeah. And I think when you live it and you have the courage to live it and you step through that door, you see two more. And you step through that door and you see two more. So many, now I'm going in entries, right? But now you have no idea what it feels like to be, 10 rooms deep because you were busy outside the door talking about theories. I heard it in a business group I'm in right now. And it was, what's up, Freedom Fighters? It's called Freedom Fighters, but it's a CEO thing. Sometimes you just need to get moving because you're too busy getting ready to get ready to get ready. In the military, we call it stand by to stand by. You're so busy standing by to stand by, you never actually did anything, right? At some point, you just have to trust. You just have to step out and just do it. And that starts with here is how can I work on me? Back to the Jordan Peterson comment, the world would be a lot better if you were a lot better. If everybody said that and took one step, I don't believe we'd be here right now. But we kicked it into neutral. And neutral, by default, because of the fall, is not good. Not for human beings to be in neutral.
Got to be in gear. Got to be moving.
Got to be in a forward gear. Ephesians 5:4, nor should there be obscenity, foolish talk, or coarse joking, which are out of place, but rather thanksgiving. That seems so flippant. Come on, man. In the military, there's that kind of razzing. It's this brotherhood of a thing. I disagree. And I get it. I totally get it. Like I said, I was very good at it, and I could reduce a man to ash like that, right? And then whatever, it could go bad in the SEAL teams if you crossed the line, it went outside, which makes it worse, right? So now you're punching a dude out in the lawn because you said something inappropriate in the first place, right? So it doesn't help relationships. It's actually very divisive. The thing is that now looking back on that, there was a guy or several that weren't good at that. They weren't witty and they couldn't come with the words. So why didn't they come to the party? Why would you come to a party if you knew you were going to be humiliated in front of your wife? Like, dude, you never come out to the gatherings. It's like, I know. If they were honest, they'd say, I know, because I don't trust you guys. You're going to diminish me in front of my family, and I don't think that's a good deal for me.
Wow. It's, I'm trying to think in my head too, like when, I've used that language in the past, unfortunately at the hockey rink, your tensions, you ball up, you start grinding your teeth, you immediately escalate. And when you take that language out of the vocabulary, it's hard to escalate.
Yeah.
You stay relatively calm. You're reading the situation. That's just something I got to keep an eye on.
Man, you know what? It takes a lot more work because it's so easy. If you are a hilarious comedian and you don't curse, check this out. This is one that landed on my head and about crushed me. And I say this for the staff. If you tell jokes, you heard this one?
Not yet.
Be funny. I'm like, if you're at work and if you tell jokes, be funny. And I said, and never at somebody else's expense. Yeah. Like if you want to be funny, if you're skilled, you can be funny and you can be relevant and you can do all that, but there's never a victim. You're not at somebody else's expense. It's a big deal. And it's harder than to crush somebody and have everybody else laugh. But what you did is you damage a relationship with this guy, right? And then you do it again, and then you do it again, and before you know it, hey, so-and-so don't come around no more. Huh, what's his deal? It's like, you know what his deal is, it's you. So that's a big deal. And again, that locker room talk, there's a place for it and all that kind of stuff.
I would be concerned too, like, let's say I go to the office, I'm just one of the guys and throwing around language. When I come home, do you change? Or now are you doing that with your wife and your family?
Yeah.
Whoa, now we're just into a destructive zone.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was around it and I'd come home, Rich would be like, whoa. And it wasn't like the rough stuff, but just like it's contagious. But so's this. Yeah. Like when we start doing this, it's contagious. People go out and they go, hey man, I love watching my instructors do that now. Cause it used to be just me. Cause it's hard. It's hard to check a grown man, right? But I love seeing Skip and Perkins say, hey guys, watch your language, please. Right? Language, whatever. And we were just talking about this. Remember the Marvel movie? Yeah. When Captain America goes language and they razz him for the rest of the movie for being decent? Yeah. Like that's like Captain America? Like that's, if anybody's going to stand up and be like, hey, do better. Yeah. And that's the thing that I don't think as adult men, I don't think that anybody's been challenged to do better. Like who tells a Navy SEAL to watch their language? I do, but I mean, whatever. It's like, hey man, watch your language. Yeah. And truly it's like, watch your language and I can't make you, by the way. But what I can do, and it's unfortunate, I'm going to take my family and they'll probably never see you again because that's my job, right? And they're going to be exposed to this, and I'm not raising them in a bubble in Castle Rock so they'll be protected. They hear it anyways, but I don't know how many times we've left a function and there's a talk in the car. It's like, hey, guys, let's air it out. And they're like, yeah, so-and-so. And I go, right. Is that right or wrong? Are you in charge of them? No. Who am I in charge of? Me. What am I going to do? I'm going to speak respectfully or responsibly, right? But how disrespectful is that to me that I have to have a conversation with these kids when I leave your house? Not your house, but you know what I mean? So that's just, that is very disrespectful, So, well, I wouldn't have said it at church, so you respect church, but not my house. Like this is the thing. I've had to tighten up family members in my house. Be like, not here. Yeah. Like, guys.
This is not the place.
Yeah, this is not the place. And if you want to keep coming around and being a part of their lives, you will rise to the standard I'm setting in my home. And it's like, I don't know when I became the prude Christian dad guy, but it's unapologetically. I think it is boldly like, hey, there's a standard here, and you will rise to that standard, or you will not be presented to these children as an option.
Yeah, and I think it's a great example to set. I don't think it's hard to accommodate most people. It's oh my gosh, yeah, you're right.
Because I don't think we realize that we step into it. And then people are like, hey, who should we invite? And they're like, probably not so-and-so because we want to, when our so-and-so is going to be there. So a lot of times people don't, because we're non-confrontational, I think, by large, and they don't want to talk about it. So they simply they forgot your invitation, right? Because it's just the easier thing to do if they don't want to confront it. So Philippians 4:8 came to mind. Those lighters that we're talking about that are engraved have Philippians 4:8. They have Galatians 22:23, and they have Galatians 19-21, because I think these are key for life. And I want to remind guys and gals when we gift these lighters and they look at them, just as a reminder. Philippians 4:8 says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So in my Bibles, I have the filter written on Philippians 4:8. If it's not those things, it doesn't go in and take root, and it doesn't come out. You got 2 chances to stop it coming in, and one more last chance coming out. Right? If you use that as a scale, it will honor you for a lifetime. If you don't, it's going to backfire. In your Galatians 5:22, this is the grade card. I have a little check on the lighter. It's got like a check, like do this, and the other one has like a skull and crossbones, like don't do this. But the filter, that one has tools, because this is the filter's a tool. But on Galatians 22:23, they refer to that as the fruit of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And you don't pass over those, because those are such a good grade card to say, like, what are you aspiring to be? Can you imagine being love? Like when people think of you, they think of love. They think of joy. They think of peace. They think of patience. Here it says forbearance. Kindness, like goodness. Like what do you think of when you think of BK? Goodness. Like that would be such an amazing compliment. Faithfulness, gentleness, and here we go for guys, self-control. Like what if, I'm going to drop the bomb on you, ready? What if your wife was married to love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control? That's a good deal. That's a good deal all the way around. I think that people, especially tough guys, alpha males, they mistake kindness for weakness. It's the opposite. It's like if you had the courage to go down this road, there's nobody stronger than you, right?
Now, have I seen a picture of one of these last two that's a parachute canopy? And that's
coming. That's in my book, brother. Oh, was this? No, we talk about it. And that's cool that you brought that up.
But
because
each one of those ropes
is
labeled.
That's right.
And you're at the bottom of that.
Yes.
Without those ropes, without that canopy.
What's the canopy? Do you remember?
I'm going to go with joy, but no, I don't remember.
Jesus, son! So basically, we've heard, So instead of, I've seen, and this is based off of, help me out, Zig Ziglar.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a thing called the Wheel of Life. And within these spokes are these important things. That's what spurred this. But in one of them was faith. One of them was work. One of them was life, whatever. So when I talked about this, I talk about that love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, all this. But my faith is not a spoke on a wheel. It would be the umbrella that covers everything else, because everything is based on that truth of the Word of God, right? So now let's make that SEAL team tactical cool guy.
There you go.
So it's like a parachute. Those parachutes, lines can break. I don't know if you know that. If you're under canopy, one of those lines can fail you, but not the canopy.
Yeah.
If you don't have a canopy. So that canopy of being Christ, of being my faith, and then those paracords coming down are those pieces that I'm working on, right? But that canopy cannot fail you. And all of these are sustaining me, right? So that's my tactical cool guy version of that.
Yeah, I like it because I probably saw it for 2 or 3 seconds, and obviously it's stuck.
Yeah.
It's very easy to visualize that.
Yeah, no, and I think that is a way to try to find that way of, like, we say we're not doing a new thing here, we're doing a very old thing, an ancient thing, right? Protecting your loved ones is not new, right? And I think that verse isn't new, but something in my life, like the SEAL teams, like parachuting, like scuba diving, like all that stuff, I think it speaks to certain men, and they go, I get it now. I get what you're saying now because I understand that analogy. So now let's flip it over. What about the bad stuff? What about those, we're talking about this war on decency. So what are those danger signs when there's red flags or there's that danger sign flashing on your pop-up monitor in your head? Galatians 5:19-21 talks about the acts of the flesh. So acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissensions, factions, and envy, drunkenness, orgies, and the like. I warn you, as I did before, that those who live like this will not inherit the kingdom of God, rather. There's so much going on there, and it seems like, oh, okay, well, so don't do witchcraft and you're good to go. There's a lot in there.
D all the above.
But yeah, it's exactly D all of the above. This is a warning, and you and I both know people, this took them down maybe forever. Like they might not make it out of this hole, right? One of those things left unchecked, and in a moment of weakness, gotcha, right? And now They're wearing titles for the rest of their life. They're hurt for the rest of their life, whatever. They don't understand grace, and they can't make it out of this hole, right? So it's a big, big deal, and it says it right there. But the world is pushing this. That's the problem. So this dissensions was one of them, to factions, like this thing of like this division that's going on right now. These dissensions that are happening right now, this division. United we stand, divided we fall. Every direction you look is division, everywhere, right? So until we counter that, and I tell my kids this, in the morning on the way to school, right when we get in and we shuttle, so we've got a bunch of kids in there, right? And I said, what are we going to do today? And these amazing answers start popping off one at a time. And they say, stand up for yourself, stand up for others, stand up for Jesus. And the other one says, love boldly. And then the one says, get ACEs, which means get all A's. Work hard, do good. And all these answers come over there. And the one I've been saying for the past few days when it comes my turn, I said, instead of complaining what's wrong, go model what's right. And then I pray for them. And then it's funny, as they're getting out, these aren't even my kids, some of them, and I just say this, as they each get out, I go, love you guys, have a great day. And I go, I love you, Beck, have a great day. I love you, Champ, have a great day. I love you, Cambria, have a great day. I love you, Sarah, have a great day. I love you, Christian. Christian always jumps up and gives me a kiss, right? And then they're out, and I'm yelling it. So the last thing they hear is all this, and they're like, bye. And then with their little backpacks, they run off into school. I just need to pump into them every single day that we're doing this. We're the world changers. Yep. It starts right here. And then that ripple effect goes out, because it doesn't work the other way. You don't elect somebody to fix this. You can't have people that are just represent unjust people. Like, the word representative means exactly that. And I hate saying politics because it's negative. I say the policies that govern our lives, right? You should be involved with the policies that governs your life, right? And if we are moral and just people by design, like it's supposed to work, and we elect representatives that are also moral and just people because they represent us, that will work. That will fix this, but it's going to take a long time. Why? Because it took a long time to break it. Right? So now if we start with that and hold fast and wait, just let it play out, pray a bunch, because we've messed up some stuff. It's just, how far do you go to where God says, I can't bless this anymore? Yeah. You guys are slaughtering babies. You're electing people. It's not even enough. So this thing going on in Colorado will turn your gut. This may make Colorado, if it passes, when it passes, I'm going to pray about it and stand up for it, and people are standing up and do the stuff at the Capitol. It's just, it's almost like, well, it's not enough. We need more, right? And it's all, again, the power of words. Women's health, it's exactly the opposite. Yeah. So anyways, all right, brother.
I love your phrase of model what's right. And the language is such an easy piece of that.
Yeah.
It's such an easy fix.
Yeah.
Almost negligible effort. And then you were probably about to ask about wrapping it up, huh? Final thoughts?
I was, but well, how's our time doing? This is, when we were talking about this, did I lose my thought? The model what's right. Oh, so many people are ready to die for this country. Yeah, they do that. You know how much harder it is to live for this country? Don't die for my kids, live for them, right? You're so easy. By the way, most people that say that aren't ready anyways, right? Nor do you get the honor of doing that if you don't live for my kids or your kids, right? So we need to live for our children, make a better future, instead of claiming you're going to die for such and such when we know better. Final thoughts?
I did have a couple final thoughts, and I think the word that comes to mind is erosion. And I think you brought up the Second Amendment earlier, First Amendment, freedom of speech. Fight hard for any and all of these, because once one goes away or gets chipped away at, it's never coming back. So fight hard, fight now, stand up, model what's right, and know what you believe in. Because once your ability to protect your family and your property goes away, who takes care of you? The government?
That's right.
I don't think so. Not for me, at least.
Take care of whatever. Right? That is the answer. So, that whole, you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Well, you know this. If people ever ask me, what have you done for this country? My answer will always be not enough.
Yeah.
But if somebody says, what can one person do? I think my answer would be something.
Something.
Don't just sit here and say, what could one person do? Do something. Get going. Pray about it, and that door will lead to two more, and then two more, and then two more, and now you've got forward movement. You're not the guy outside of the house saying somebody should enter. Blessings, brother. This is a good one, man. It's got me all riled up, and I'm motivated to get after it. So we'll go ahead and close out. We want a special thanks to able-nation.org. Love you, Sage. Look them up, guys. Check out all the good things we got going on. Check us out. Learn more on ableshepherd.com. That's ABLESHEPHERD.com. Till we see you again, God bless each and every one of you. Take care of one another.